What's going on, guys? Bully Kid here checking in. Just want to give you a quick update with what's been going on in the motor. The head, as you can see, is still gunky, old, exposed, and filled with sludge. But on the bright side, we cleaned all the main caps, or the camshaft caps right now. Everything is looking nice and clean for the most part. There is some wear on these caps, as you can see. Like, look at this one right there. Looks like some kind of debris got in there and scratched it up a little bit. I can actually feel it with my fingernail in there, so I'm not sure what kind of problem that's going to cause later on in this engine's life cycle. We haven't tackled the bottom end of the motor yet because we are mainly focused on tackling the head, getting the head in tip-top shape. Again, I'm not too familiar with heads. This is all new to me. I'm more familiar with the lower end, or at least I hope I am. But we got everything cleaned up here. So rollers, hydraulic lifters are all out. They are all cleaned for the most part. I'll get back to the hydraulic lifters in a second. Now, all the exhaust valves. Let me set you guys down here. Alright, so let's have a look right here. Let's change that focus up. So all the valves have been cleaned. They look very good for the most part. You can see the tops. I cleaned them the best I could. These stems were hard to clean, so I just left them. The main point and the most important point is, again, is going to be how well everything seals. You see all the pits in this metal. That means it's just a bunch of holes in the metal here. See if I can zoom in on this. And this can cause sealing problems. So I'm thinking we are going to get lapping compound and lap this with the head so we can smooth this out. It's pretty much like buffing your car's scratches. It's good. Lapping the valves means you're buffing out these pits and making it smooth and sealed. The valves, everything looks good. I don't see a problem with anything here, so we are going to reuse all of these components. Now heading on to the intake valves. Intake valves, we cleaned up majority of them as well. Again, we're not sure if these were coated with some kind of coating on top of them because it was a uniform cutoff right here. So hell, you know, worst case scenario, we took off some of the protective coating, but it is what it is. It's still going to be in much better condition than it was before. The seats on the intake valves look fantastic. There's no pitting on them whatsoever, but that's ironic because one of the intake seats was leaking when we did the water test, and I'll play you a clip of that right now. Alright, so at this point, cylinder 3, we are getting a leak here from the intake side. So if it's not the actual valve that has the problem, it might be the actual head seat that has the problem. Now, the most important part here from the valve train, guys, are these lifters. Now, these lifters, obviously they're hydraulic lifters, so oil goes through them and it maintains hydraulic pressure. So instead of the typical solid valves that you have to adjust with the valve lash adjustment tool, these do it automatically. As you can see, this one I cannot even squeeze down, so we have to bleed this system before we reinstall it into the vehicle. And I'm going to show you guys how you have to bleed the system. There's plenty of ways that I've seen people do it. One way is just put it in a vice grip and squeeze the hell out of it, and the fluid, the oil that's inside, will come out of here. The second way that I'm doing it right now is taking an Allen key right here, and you're going to insert the Allen key right in the center here, and there's going to be a valve you can squeeze here. So we are purging that right now. You would flip it around and just let all the used oil or whatever's in there come out. And you gotta hit it just right, because if you don't hit it just right, the check valve is not gonna open up. So you gotta hit it just right. See, right now I'm not hitting it in the right spot. There we go. And we're still getting some used oil, and there's gunk in there. There's built up gunk in there. So you just, if I was gonna just reinstall them into the car right now, this would be good enough, because we purged them, and look, there is some play in them. So that's how you want to reinstall them. but you know, recently we just cleaned them with soapy water, so there might be soap residue inside. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna clean these off, and I'm gonna show you guys the process with one of these hydraulic lifters, and then we're gonna have to repeat the step for all these hydraulic lifters. And I believe there's 16 hydraulic lifters in here, so it is going to be a very, very, very time-consuming process, just like anything else that we were doing, whether it was cleaning the rollers, cleaning the valves, cleaning the retainers, the springs. Everything took a long time. This whole process, we're in probably about 10 hours worth of cleaning right now, so it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's part of the process if you want to rebuild a motor. All right, so we're taking a little cap right here, and we're going to put our hydraulic lifter right into this cap. The next step we're going to do is take some acetone and pour some acetone into this cap. The first step is just to clean the lifters. And you can let this soak overnight if you'd like to, or for a few hours. We're going to check the check valve. We're going to press down on the check valve. If we can find it. And there you go. You thought this was clean, huh? You thought that lifter was clean. Look at that. So you can repeat this process 2 to 3 times, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Alright guys, so the next thing, once you blood them with acetone, or you fill them up with acetone, you're going to purge it. Remember, purge it upside down. And there is acetone coming out of them right now. So for the most part, they look pretty clean. The next step would be to put them in oil and fill them up with oil. And that oil is going to help lubricate the internal structure of this lifter. Alright guys, and the next step right here is to put it in oil. And you can obviously use new oil for this application. That would probably be your best bet if you are installing new parts into a new motor that you know is going to run. In my situation, this motor right here, it's abandoned. Who knows what's going to be the future history of this vehicle. So we are using used Pennzoil Platinum 020 that we just pulled out from the K series. And you know what, guys, honestly, I know a lot of you guys are going to talk shit, but I trust this used oil more than some new oils. You're going to take your lifter. I already got it on the check valve. As you can see, I can compress it. We're going to dump it in the oil. And now it's just circulating this oil through the internal chambers here of the lifter. So it's just going to take out any of the old soapy water or anything in there out. Lubricate it just the way we want it. And then let's drain it right here. Flip it upside down. Get rid of that oil. You want to install these lifters with it purged, with it drained. That way you don't collapse a valve on startup, from my understanding. So this one is ready to go. We're going to do this for all other 15, 16 lifters. And then we'll be good to go. And again, you want to make sure the lifter can compress after everything is said and done. Just like so. If it's a completely stiff lifter, you need to purge it some more. I'm also going to be taking these rollers because inside they have bearings right here, and we just need to lubricate them again after we washed them already prior to this. Alright guys, it's been about an hour or so. We got everything cleaned up, ready to go. All the lifters are bled. They currently have no tension on them, and that's the way you want to install them. The hydraulic rollers, again, like I summarized, there are bearings inside there that spin. We lubricated everything so it's ready to go when the time comes to put everything back in. Most important part is when you reinstall these, make sure they're not tight and make sure they move. If they don't move, you don't want to reinstall them. This is a tedious process, guys, because again, if you're going to clean them with acetone or kerosene, that takes forever, and then when you put them in oil, that takes forever. So, but that's some of the things you have to do. I was unsure whether they have to be soaked and filled with oil or drained from the oil upon installation, and it seems like the web agreed with me that you want to drain it, you want it to compress, then you install them into the head. Anyway, guys, stay tuned for future videos, guys. We got more to come during this quarantine.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true.